Flosstube. It's Arlene here. It is Thursday, May 12th, 2022, and it's been a while since I did a video. I think it's like 2 months. And I've had this on the back of my mind of I want to be out there and communicate and share, and at the same time, I was like, well, what can I do to put on a video? I hope you all have been well and have had time to do stitching or all the things that you love. I have been doing a lot of stitching, and basically everything I'm stitching these days is for my design business. And so I'm basically not ready to show things until they're done. But again, knowing that it had been a while and for another couple of important reasons, which I'll get to, I was like, you know what? I sit down, kind of squish this in between some teaching commitments today and just make this video because I want to be back. So welcome. If you are new here, thank you very much for stopping by. If you're not new here, thank you for coming by again. One of the main reasons I wanted to make sure to get a video in some point soon is, can you believe how fast years fly by? Coming up in a few days is my 5-year anniversary of when I launched WorksByABC, my design business. And it's like mind-boggling because 5 years flies by and 5 years drags on at the same time. And just trying to think back to where I was and who I was when I started it all. And so there's a couple pieces all related connecting to this. So in my last video, I'd mentioned it was my 5-year anniversary of doing Flosstube. And it was just a few months after I started becoming a part of the Flosstube community that I took the leap and said, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. I've designed my own things for many years. Maybe there'll be some other people interested in what I do. So if you have been a supporter of mine from the perspective of being a designer, bought some of my patterns, shared things on Instagram and so on, thank you so much. Anyone who has a small business of any kind knows how valuable that kind of sharing and reposting and so on means in the digital world. I connected with all, so it was May 19th, 2017 was when I first officially hit publish or whatever it is that I clicked on Etsy after I'd been building up what I was going to put together. Related and then yet not related is a project I've been working on these last few weeks, which is having a brand new website. I am still selling through Etsy. That decision may change in the future, but as of this time, you purchase my things through Etsy. However, I've had a landing spot. WorksByABC.com was and still is a place that would, Google would find it, you could find it, and it basically had shared the designs I had. I was not doing a good job at keeping up on that element of it. I had such a hard time with the layout, nothing. When I first started in 2018, 2019, I was doing a fair amount of blogging. Haven't done that in a while. At the same time, I know the importance of having that kind of piece out there when you want people, both stitchers and store owners, to find you. So thankfully had a tech guy help me with the domain transfer. I have a new host. I've been working on building this website. And so I wanted to share it all with you, sort of the relaunching of WorksByABC.com. It is still a work in progress. In my mind, I've made it through stage 1. And stage 1 was getting images of all my designs with a link to the listing in the Etsy store. There is plenty more things I can and hopefully will be doing with the website, but I'm at the point where I just do want to share it with people because I want it to be known out there. I want somebody to, let me know if a link doesn't work or something. And that way, frankly, it'll give me the motivation to keep working on it and keep improving it. Right now, it's a very straightforward, I won't say plain, but, does the job kind of thing. And I'd like to add some other pieces to it. So I would love it if you would go to the website, just scroll a little bit down on the homepage, and there is a place to subscribe to a newsletter. Now, I promise you, you will not be flooded by your mailbox by any means. I would love to build up a subscriber list. I would have a newsletter every so often just to share the things that I'm doing, what might be new. So as a way to encourage people to do that, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. If you go over to my website, give your email to be part of my email list, which I think says subscribe. I'd have to look it up. I will do a drawing in 2 weeks, May 31st, the last day of May. I will, for every email address that's come in, we'll pick a winner, maybe even 2, and email you, and you will win a copy of one of my patterns. Any pattern you want, your choice. If you don't already know about me, oh, look, I brought visual. Works by ABC. I put out all my patterns both as paper copies and PDF, so you can get it either way. And for the winner of my giveaway, you can absolutely get it any way you want, any pattern, any way you want. But it's not about entering the giveaway here on these comments. It's go over to my website. There will be a link below, and just a little bit down on the homepage, there is an option for you to enter your email to be a part of my list. And I would just love to build that up. Something important about my website as of this recording, and it may change, I kind of hope it'll change once I figure it out. Right now, the direct links from all the patterns that are listed on that site, they go directly to the Etsy link of the paper copy. I have not yet figured out how to have 2 buttons, this going to the paper copy and this going to the PDF copy. But everything you click on does have a PDF copy. So if you're someone who says, oh, I like that design, let me click on it, it brings you to the Etsy listing of the paper copy. A quick little search within my store, search within Etsy of the same name should bring you to the listing of the PDF copy. So again, one of those things I want to work on for my website is to be able to have both, but for now, that's what it is. The motivation to get this website new, yes, it's more than time for me to do it if I'm going to be moving forward and trying to build my stitching, my design business. But I realized, gosh, I could tie it into this 5-year anniversary business. So here I am. As a part of that anniversary business, I am also putting on a sale in my Etsy store. Everything will be 15% off, no code needed. It'll just be an automatic, and I'll even do free shipping within the United States. So I hope you will show your support of me and maybe your interest in the things I design by taking advantage of my sale for this month. It's my anniversary month, and so from now until the end of the month, everything on my Etsy store will be on sale. I so appreciate the customers I've had, the positive feedback I've had in these 5 years and going forward. It was really interesting. This was not a planned thing, but boy, was it really interesting too, because I've been trying to get designs listed. So I went to my Etsy store, I'd written down all kinds of things, decided the order, and so on. And in that process, I ended up visually looking at every single design I have on the Etsy store. And it's been a while since I've even looked at some of those. And it was a great experience to think about how far I've come. That's not to say my earliest patterns are bad, but I think definitely in the last couple years, I've upped my game a little bit. So it was a great experience to be looking at all of them at the same time reflecting back on a milestone on 5 years. I looked it up. The 5-year anniversary is wood or silverware for like wedding anniversaries, and I'm like, yeah, I can't tie that in at all with needlework. I just can't. So thank you for wishing me a happy anniversary, and thank you for the support of being a designer, which I so appreciate. So, sale on Etsy store. Go to my website and subscribe for a giveaway. Those are my big announcement type thingies. Coming up soon. Well, no, back. Okay. Today. So this coming weekend, I will be going to a 1-day stitching retreat. It is taking place over 2 days, but you can sign up for only one, called Needle Fest here in New Jersey. It is being put on by Needleworkers Delight, which is my LNS. It's an event that existed for some number of years where Needleworkers was a vendor, and then they took it over for all kinds of reasons. I think the woman who was doing it was no longer going to be doing it, in 2019. And I went, my whole stitching group went, we had a great time, just an all-day stitching, chatting, raffle prizes. There were classes going on. None of my group took any classes. I was scheduled to go in 2020. got canceled. They originally planned 2021 for, they had planned it once, then they put it off till later in the year. I think it happened in the fall of 2021. I wasn't able to go, but I'm ready to go gangbusters for this weekend. And so because there was so much interest in it, for the Saturday, they did open up. They made the arrangements with the venue, and so they're having it for 2 days. So some of my stitching group are making it, like a full weekend experience, and I can't, but I will be very happy to be there. And I have been getting very much in the stitching retreat frame of mind, because I haven't talked about this in a while, but coming up this summer will be my New Jersey Flosstube retreat. I put on my first retreat in 2018, and it truly was a response to having found this Flosstube community and wanting to do my little part to bring people together. And that's how it got called New Jersey Flosstube Retreat. You do not need to make videos. If you are watching a video right now, clearly, you are a member of the Flosstube community. So sure, some of us make videos, but we are all a part of this community. So I had that first retreat in 2018, and literally before the weekend was over, people were saying, you're doing this again, aren't you? Had it in 2019, wonderful, at a different venue, and it was wonderful. Planned for 2020 and canceled. Planned for 2021, sort of cautiously, going to see how it all goes, and I made the decision I needed to cancel for all kinds of, but mostly financial reasons. But boy, are we going gangbusters this year. So the retreat is happening at the Hampton Inn Woodbridge in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And it's about 10 minutes away from Needleworkers Delight. I have a basically full group right now. I also know people have been canceling for all kinds of reasons, and I have a wait list. Right now, my wait list has very few people on it. If this is something that you're even sort of interested in, please do follow these instructions and get on my wait list. You're not committing to anything, but that way, because again, I know there's probably going to be some more cancellations at this next little bit of time. I would love to give you, anyone who's interested, the opportunity. Basic information, again, Hampton Inn Woodbridge in Woodbridge, New Jersey, July 21st to the 24th. So it starts on a Thursday afternoon, goes through Sunday evening. Cost is $100. It is for the stitching room. There will be raffle prizes. We will have a smalls exchange. People have just sat and stitched and checked out what was on the freebie table and admired the beautiful things that people brought to share, like on display. Lots of trips over to Needleworkers, and making friends. Like my stitching group, I knew none of them. Had no concept of who they were other than names on my spreadsheet before I had my first stitching retreat. And I am so grateful for these women, some of whom are watching me right now. I'm so grateful for these women in my life. And they are absolutely a part. So I've been getting a lot of stuff, some things I've been ordering, some things I've been asking for has started arriving, even though it's still, 2 months away. But I'm starting to gather things, and it's getting me that much more excited. So again, little plug, if you are something you might be interested in, follow instructions below, and you'll get more information. So you're not committing to anything. You're just basically saying, hey, I'm kind of interested. Let me know about this. I'm looking at my list. Stitching wise, so all right, I started out by saying I have been doing a lot of stitching, and I basically haven't been showing much on Instagram or even had the desire to do a video, because I was like, well, what am I going to show? Everything that I'm stitching now is a model for new designs, and I love, as of right now, I have yet to engage model stitchers. It might happen in the future, but that's partially because I don't think I've done a single design where I haven't made changes as I've been stitching, and so it's kind of hard to. It's a different topic. So I still do all of my model stitching. I am working on things for actually next year for Nashville for March, but also for this coming August, there will be another Needlework Expo, which is an online wholesale opportunity. The stores can purchase. It's a virtual. So it is not, spend the money and go to a hotel and travel expenses and everything. It is sort of a different model, but it also means stores and designers that can't spend the money and do all the travel to Nashville have the opportunity to participate in this. So I've been sort of plotting out designs, Needlework Expo, maybe some for another set of designs in the fall, then thinking about Nashville, getting the mindset of what I know a lot of established designers have, which is kind of plotting out the year. But I did decide I wanted to share at least something today. Let me just say, I have a little small thing. I keep my main stitching project, like what I stitch on every night, downstairs at my stitching spot. For a number of reasons, I started doing this. I now have a little stitching spot up here that I've been mostly using like 10-15 minutes at a time, which has been a great way to have a second project going with it only being kind of small projects up here. And this is one of them. So you can see the month of autumn. And the word autumn is not stitch. It is, there's a name for it when you stitch around. I don't know what the name is. And it probably won't surprise you to know that there will be a summer, spring, and fall. Fall, winter, spring, summer will also be a part of this. This idea of playing with colors. What colors make you think of the seasons? And it can be an interesting little challenge to kind of put that together. And so there we go. I will probably finish these either as little pillows or little flat folds, or just trying to think about how people might use this kind of design in a decorative kind of way, have them out at the appropriate season or whatever. So I'm stitching them as 4 separate little pieces. Obviously, it'll be something that you can stitch all together. But the colors of the seasons to see, I've planned out what I think this is the first one I've stitched, haven't started the other ones yet. I've planned out what I think colors I'm going to use. We'll see if I stick with them. These are all Weeks Dyeworks threads, which I've really come to love the variegation and the beauty of them. So, little sneak peek of 1/4 of a pattern that'll be coming in August for Needlework Expo. And reflecting on the fact that I wanted to get a video, I wanted to make the connection, all of that, but not having much stitching to show. I thought back on something that a friend of mine said not that long ago when I was basically talking about this kind of stuff is, well, why don't you show some of the things that you showed, way back at the beginning that maybe you haven't shown since then, and plenty of people could sort of come and go, and plenty of people who might be watching a video today in May of 2022 may not have a clue on anything that I showed in April of 2017. I thought that was a good idea. So I'm kind of keeping this in the back of my mind for any videos going forward when there isn't much to show that is present. Show a little bit of the past. I did go back and look. I definitely showed these during one of my earliest videos, 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th. I don't remember if they've come up again at any other time. But I'm going to go on the attitude that if you've been around this whole time, awesome, you might remember these. Or, wow, that's new and I haven't seen that before. So my designs are mostly cross-stitch, and I've been doing a lot of cross-stitch in these last couple of years, but cross-stitch is not my only needlework love. I love trying all different kinds, and a big category of that is blackwork. I also do some designs in blackwork, and I've shared those with you here. And you can see that they're now in their own little category on my website. The term blackwork does not mean it has to be stitched with black thread. It can be, and many designs are, but when you hear about a blackwork design, don't limit yourself to thinking black and white. In general, you would say blackwork is kind of like the stitching you do when you're doing back stitching on a regular cross-stitch design, which is to say it's made up of straight stitches in all different kinds of ways and patterns, that variations that could exist. I probably had done something small before this, probably, but I remember seeing this at the pattern for this at my LNS at the time, which is long closed, and was so intrigued by the idea that it was a booklet, it wasn't just a pattern. And so I stitched a chessboard. Now this piece does have glass. My earlier pieces definitely did. And so I got a little reflection thing going on here. The design it's from a designer named Leon Conrad, and I am pretty sure the first time I showed this in 2017, the pattern was out of print. because I feel like I'm remembering at least one, if not two people contacting me to ask, do I still have the pattern and would I be interested, so on. At some point between now and then, and I learned about this a couple years ago, he's come back. If you Google Leon Conrad, I'll put the name below, he has a website and it leads to an Etsy store, and he sells this pattern as well as the other one I'm going to show you. So you can get it. So each square is a different design. It used two different weights of black thread. I think these were silks. A very, very fine silk and I don't remember I'd have to look these up. And then a very fine gold, where you do often find gold with black work pieces. And of course there was, the great little satisfaction of I'll explain that in a minute. The great satisfaction of finishing a square is like a little mini finish. Now, from the moment that I saw this, I know how to play chess. I'm not a chess diehard, but it appeals to me. The idea of, well, if I'm going to stitch a chessboard, can I make it a chessboard? And I remember talking, the LNS at the time also was a framing business, and talking to her how usually in professional framing, when you're stitching, you get a wire back thing. And I was saying how, but if I do that, I can't take it off the wall and lay it flat. So instead, this is framed with a sawtooth hook, and there are the little rubbery things on all four corners. And so it does sit flat when it's flat. So if I ever have the desire to play a game of chess, I take this off the wall and lay it down. But you need chess pieces. And I think at the time I was stitching this, I was like, I'm going to go online and find, some special chess set or something. And the more I thought about that, I was like, well, that's not the spirit of this. This is a stitched chessboard. I should have stitched chess pieces. How can I do this? Well, you get your brain thinking and you come up with ideas. I went to Michael's. One of these fell. And at the time, pretty sure it was a Michael's, there was a whole lot of little wood pieces, little wood things. It's interesting because recently I'm exploring an idea, and I was in Michael's specifically looking at the wood area, and I was like, wow, if I wanted to do what I did with those chess pieces years ago, just options are not here. So I'm wandering around and I kind of hit on this idea. Picture a wall with little baggies of a whole bunch of different, non-painted wood pieces. And so you can probably tell from here to here looks like a regular wooden spool. And this, from here to here is, I don't know, some little wood shape. And then there's a little version of that same wood shape on top. And there's even a little, I don't even remember what these things were called. There was a variety of them. I couldn't tell you what in the world anyone would be using them for. A spool, okay, all right, but some of these other shapes, I don't know what they were used for. But I just started to think, how can I make these into chess pieces? So where am I? Yes. So this is the king, and here's the queen. And I think the only difference between these, instead of this little top guy, there's a little peg on top here. So again, made up of the same pieces. To really tie it in, I have a little stitched border. So this border is the same border that's on the chessboard. And so I stitched a whole bunch of these little rings, I don't know what to call them, glued together my wood pieces, painted them, and made myself a chess set. So king and queen, we have bishop, knight, and rook, and all, especially trying to come up with something that would look vaguely like the horse head. Just all variations of combining little wood pieces. Pawn. And I made the other set to go with the chessboard, gold. Now I do remember stitching the little design. I was trying to do exactly opposite. So like where you see the black thread, it'll go okay, and it just didn't look right to have too much gold. So both colors do have the same band around them. And I just, again, this idea of finding the right pieces of wood to put together, and just knowing that that's not there anymore. I mean, maybe some other place, maybe, and again, I can't even tell you these little pieces, what in a lot of ways, what they could have been used for. But then again, you go to any craft store and you do find lots of things that you're like, when is anyone going to use that? And then the next thing you know, you're buying it and you're using it for something. Now, I did want to share a number of years ago when I was teaching at a school that had an art gallery, and there would be exhibitions, and sometimes it would be like the students, and sometimes there was even like art faculty exhibits, but there was also actually outside artists that they brought in as a gallery space, and classes would go there and do writing, and do all kinds of stuff. It was a great little extra piece of a school. A couple times during my time there, but particularly this time, the woman who ran the art gallery decided to do a faculty show, but not just the art faculty. Anyone was welcome to enter anything they wanted and open the doors to all kinds of stuff. And people said that it was the best thing that that gallery had ever done. They didn't want to do it every year because it would kind of like ruin the magic. I don't know if they've done it recently again. So you had painters and potters and quilters, all kinds of sort of what you think of as traditional arts that you might find in a gallery, but there was all kinds of stuff that I'd never seen before. And here was the super cool thing. The exhibit was called Secret Lives, and they covered over the name of the person who did the thing. Easily to see who it was and to read the description, but it just gave you enough pause to like look at it as it is before you put on the lens of who did this. Oh, I know that. That's my math teacher. Oh, that's my second grade teacher, or whatever. So I brought in a number of pieces to represent the needlework world, and I had quite a number of there, which I was glad to share with people. People who knew me knew that I did needlework of some kind, and I know a lot of them didn't realize to the extent I did it, but it was just a great opportunity to share with my teaching colleagues. I brought that chessboard, and I made the decision, you know what? I'm bringing the pieces. I'm risking it. I'm risking they're going to walk off or disappear. I know that, but I was okay with that. It was like so important enough for me to share that it was almost, I can't explain it. It was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I keep this set in a little wooden box that I'd found, like at Marshall's or something like that, and I brought them in, and I told the gallery exhibitor, woman who ran the gallery, and she's like, are you sure you want to leave them? I said, yes. You know what, I'm giving this a try. Not a single one disappeared. They all came back. But what I loved about it is that they set up, so this is one corner of the gallery. You see that table and the chairs. They set up, my chess set, and kids and adults would go in there and play. Somewhere, I can't find it, somewhere someone sent me a few pictures of seeing some of the high schoolers playing. And I loved that. And here, you could see that tag, how it says Secret Lives, but you couldn't right away see who had created the object. So it was a great thing to do. So I've always loved this blackwork pattern, and adding on my extra piece of it, which was creating the chess pieces. Now, at that same time that I was stitching it, or around then, I don't remember, it was probably something online, but I don't remember exactly how, but I learned that this designer, Leon Conrad, was coming out with a new, very large design. And somewhere I saw a picture of it, and I was like, I want to stitch that. And I remember talking to the LNS owner at the time, and her writing it down on a list. And in retrospect, it was sort of like, was she going to Nashville or some equivalent of Nashville? Because she was writing a list, and her saying something, I'm going to pick that up for you if it's there, kind of thing. So she was probably going to some trade show, and she was able to get it the year it came out. And it's a biggie. So this is called Medieval Majesty. Again, it's a blackwork piece. It involves, I don't want to spill the water that's sitting over there. Hold on. Let's move the water out of the way. It involves 2, maybe 3 different weights of black thread. Again, there's some gold. The gold is basically as a border, which allows it to really pop. Every one of those rectangle and square areas are different. And again, it's called Medieval Majesty. Now, I know when I first saw this, before I opened up the cover of the booklet and started reading about it, I just thought, wow, geometric, symmetrical, so cool. And then I learned it was actually based on something. If you are familiar with Westminster Abbey in London, there is a mosaic in the floor that this is based on. Here is a postcard of this mosaic. Now, the design he did, he basically turned it on here, so, and then, made it into a square like this, so it's on point, but it is totally based off of this. It's called a Cosmati pattern, Cosmati. And when I Googled that word, because it's always spelled with a capital C, it is named after some artisans from the mosaic originally went into Westminster Abbey. I think they said like in the 13th century. I mean, it's been there. So Cosmati comes from some name, I think it was Italian, related to the style, the designer, called a Cosmati pavement. Now, this, if it's really 700 years old, you can imagine it's had a little wear and tear. About 10 years ago, they I don't know how long it took them to do it, but there was a major overhaul. They did painstakingly not restoration, they fixed all the parts that they needed to fix. And now, I don't know if tourists are actually allowed to walk on it. I can't believe that would be true, but at least now it is visible. Maybe they covered at some points. If you are like, I need the visual image here, well, in you can go and look at Google Maps of or images of Westminster Abbey. But if you can remember Will and Kate's wedding in 2011, this was right after the work finished, and so right there, okay, it's their wedding day. They got to stand on it. But you can see it. And I want to say it's something like 20 feet by 20 feet, 24 by 24 feet. Those of you who've been around and know me, I love it when there's a story and an inspiration and when that's shared. So loved the design when I just saw the picture of it on the booklet cover, but then to read the inspiration behind it was that much better. And I was stitching on it well before this restoration work. So, and I don't remember when I heard about this. And this postcard, a friend of mine had gone to London, and I think she had seen my needlework and she saw this, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. So there we go, a little sharing of past needlework things, just to get a little stitching in here. Thank you so much for staying with me here, for visiting. We all know the drill, that the likes and the comments and the subscribes makes a lot of difference to YouTube, to be able to share my stuff with everyone out there. A huge thank you for those of you, which I know many of you that are watching right now, that have been a supporter of my Works by ABC designs. I know what I design is a little different and a little eclectic, but I stitch what I love, I design what I love, and I just hope that there's some other people that love those things as well. So, a couple reminders. Everything is on sale in my Etsy store to honor the 5th anniversary. No code needed. Number 2, there is a new website called, Works by ABC has now been redone. Please stop by, scroll on the home page, look where it says to subscribe to a newsletter. If you enter your email there, you are entered into a giveaway at the end of the month, May 31st. I will do that, and I will be able to directly email the person. This community means so much to me. It has given me so much in these past 5 years, both the online version and how it evolved into retreats and monthly stitch group and all of that. I am very, very grateful. So, till next time.